Alright, okay, before I get into things, let's do a quick volume test. I gotta pull it up on my phone real quick. Come on, Twitch, quit bugging out on me. There we go. Alright, volume test, 1, 2, 3. Speech test, 1, 2, 3. Whoops, hold on.
You used to like working
1, 2,
with a
3, 4,
smart
5.
bunch. Mercenaries are efficient instruments of war. Just like
Okay,
fast
game
food.
sounds a
Ready
little
to
bit
eat
loud.
and easily disposable. You want to know what happened in the past? Some people would prefer I keep my mouth shut about that topic. Say, it must be
Okay,
such a
let's try
blessing to
10
know
dB
remember
sound test.
right?
Alright, sounds good, I think. Okay. Alright, everyone. Welcome back to Arknights. I play this game a lot, but, and I've explained it several times in the past, but tonight I intend to try and explain it such that even a non-gamer can understand it. So, if anyone's curious, other members of my family can understand what's going on. So, there's a lot of stuff to this game. It's a really deep game. If I were to try to explain everything, I'd be here for hours. I'm going to do my best to just explain the gameplay, so you can understand what you're seeing when I'm actually playing the game. First things first, Arknights is a gacha game. That means you collect characters to aid you in the actual gameplay, with every character being slightly different from each other. You might notice you've got all these different classes to work with that each have their own unique specializations. You've got defenders, snipers, mages, healers, all that jazz. And all these different characters have their own subclasses. Medic, therapist, etc. You'll notice there's all this other information as well. Characters can be leveled up, characters have their own unique skills that do various things, etc., etc. All this culminates in a wide variety of strategies that can be performed. Well, strategies for what, you may ask? What kind of game is this? What am I performing strategies in? Let's see, what's a good mission to do to explain that? I guess let's go to Story 1. No, I don't want that. So I'm trying to remember how to access the old story stuff. I think it's this one. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. Nah. Alright, this one looks good. So, Arknights is what's called a tower defense game. You'll notice there's a pathway here. Enemies spawn in the red zones. I have to stop them from reaching the blue zones. Enemies will follow their own defined pathways along this ground path. I can place units anywhere on the ground path or on these white tiles to stop the enemies from reaching the blue zones. Most tower defense games will have players placing towers on the outside of the pathway. There will be only one pathway, and then that's pretty much it. This game goes much deeper. You can place units on the path to block enemy progress, in addition to placing units on the outside. Units also have a determined direction in which they attack based on which direction you face them, which is another new thing. Additionally, there's minor RPG elements due to all the different stats that those characters have. And now I'm going to go into small detail about that. Let's go with Saria here. Saria is a Guardian Defender. She's a defender with the ability to heal her allies. All these stats over here are basic game stats. You've got HP, attack power, defense, resistance, which is essentially magic defense, redeployment time, which is if the character dies or gets pulled out of combat. That's a rough description of how long it takes before you can put them down again. Most of them will have slow. Cost. There's a point limit. Sorry, hard to explain. Characters cost a certain amount of that point limit to put on the field. Saria costs 22. This is block count, how many enemies she can block before they start walking right on by her. And lastly, attack speed, average, how often she attacks the enemy in a certain amount of time. Average, I think, is about 1 attack each half second, maybe slightly less than each second, I'm not sure. You could ignore trust, that's essentially just a stat boost thing. We also have skills. This skill. Roughly every 7 seconds, she restores the HP of all allies within a certain range by 140% of her attack power. Or, roughly every 5 seconds, she restores the HP of a nearby ally with less than 50% HP by 150% of the operator's attack in the next attack. That's worded a little bit weird. Essentially, she can store up to 2 charges of this skill, and if an operator within her range goes below 50% of their HP, she will heal them for 150% of her attack. Or of the ally's attack, I'm not sure which. Lastly, we've got this third skill. Restores the HP of all nearby allies by 20% of Sari's attack per second. It doesn't say that part. The art's damage taken by nearby enemies increases by 40%, and movement speed goes down 60%. Art's damage, I should mention, is just magic damage. It's just another word for magic. Kaiju is in the chat. They just said exposition dump. Yes, it is. That's the whole point of this stream. I don't have a ton of time tonight, so I don't know how far I'm going to get. But I figured I should explain this game in as much detail as I can. Some classes have quirks. For example, the sniper class, you've got marksmen. They specifically target airborne enemies, which is extremely handy because airborne enemies do not have to follow the ground path. You've got some units like Thorns here, a Lord subtype. Can launch ranged attacks that deal 80% of normal attack as arts damage. It's weird it doesn't mention that. At least it's usually as arts damage. I don't know if Thorns is different. But yeah, anything else I can explain here is going really in-depth into the game, and it would be better to just show it off. So let's go back and... I guess I'll just go into this mode here, because it's a little easier to explain things this way. So this mode is a randomized mode. It's going to help show how the tactics in this game work, and how you kind of need to adapt to your environments and what's going on. So I'm going to pick a squad type here. You see each of them works a little differently, and this is how the whole rest of the run will go. I'm going to pick Research Squad, because I get a little more experience after each run, after each battle, which we'll get into it later. Gain 2 hope. So the way this mode works is you recruit operators 1 at a time, or sometimes 2 at a time, throughout the run. This determines what quality of operators I can recruit. And actually, that's something I forgot to mention. Operators come in qualities from 1 to 6 stars, with 6 stars being the most versatile and capable, and 1 stars literally just being emergency units. Last-ditch effort units. Let's go with 2 hope, and I'm going to take my favorite starting squad. A supporter, a medic, and a guard. Hey there, Faiku! Faiku's in the chat. Faiku regularly follows my Arknights streams. First pick and favorite pick is Ling. Ling is a type called a summoner. She can bring along extra units, in this case dragons, that have stats and skills based on Ling's own. This is really handy for this game type because she can make up for the lack of operators early in the game. A lot of people are drawn to games like this one due to the character designs, and I have to admit, I love the character designs in this game, but they are not what drew me to it. Second character, a guard unit. And in fact, we can get Arene, so I'm going to do that. Hey Faiku, something that just occurred to me. Do all lords deal arts damage with ranged attacks? Because I thought they did. But it doesn't seem like that's the case here. Lastly, a medic. Medics are pretty much essential unless you're really, really good at this game. Ansel is a basic medic, but his skill allows him to extend his range a fair bit, which can come in handy in a pinch if your operators are really spread out. So, Arene the guard for ground stuff and blocking the exit, Ansel for keeping my units alive, Ling for pretty much everything else, and Ling as a summoner, I forgot to mention, doubles as a mage. She herself is a mage, the summons are an extension of her power. Now, one more thing to note, we have life points. Anytime an enemy goes through the blue zone I mentioned earlier, you lose a life point. In this mode, life points carry on through the entire run. So if I lost 7 life points in this first mission, I'd have 1 life point for the entire rest of the run unless I manage to gain more. If I lose all my life points, I lose the run. Objective Shield is basically spare life points. Things were changed in later versions of this game mode, so Objective Shield is a little more important. But we'll not get into that for now. Let's get into actual combat. Here we have a different field, lots of enemy spawns, but only 1 exit. Easy peasy to guard. I can handle 1 exit with pretty much no problems whatsoever. Here we have squad selection. In most regular gameplay, you can have 12 units and a 13th that you can borrow from other players if you really feel the need to. In this mode, we start with only 7 slots, but we've only got 3 characters in the first place.
To scatter the fill of a brimming cup. Ready whenever.
So, not much choices to be had here. Anybody in chat have any questions so far that you think are worth mentioning? And while I wait for responses, let's get into this. So, this up here. How many enemies are going to spawn? How many I have defeated. There's my life points. I have the 8 and the objective shield, so I've got 9. Here's my operators down here. You can see the numbers above their heads. That is how much it costs to put them down. This is the cost. It's called deployment points. It goes up roughly 1 per second over the course of a mission, unless that mission edits that stat in some way. Sometimes a mission will slow it down. Sometimes they will completely negate it. And I will get into how that's possible later on. For now, let's first wait until we can get 16. And I'll put Arene there. So you might notice these treasure chests on the field. These are an extra thing for this game mode. If I can stop the treasure chest from being touched by the enemy, I get extra rewards at the end of the mission. So there's a little extra strategy to focus on if the mission isn't too tough. So let's see. Trying to figure out the best place to put Ansel here. With Arene over there, it's a little difficult. I guess I'll put him... Let's put him here.
Please hold on.
So now Arene can help keep Ansel alive. Now, I mean, Ansel can keep Arene alive, my bad. Now, this thing means Arene's skill has charged. Range expands, and ranged attacks no longer deal reduced damage. Attacks deal 140% attack as arts damage and target an additional enemy. Now you might have seen another red line show up, so we got more enemies spawning. So I'm going to put Ling here facing left.
As Auden made reckoned her arrival.
Speed things up a little bit. Put this here to stop it from reaching that chest. So there's one of Ling's summons. Now that she's on the field, I can use her summons to my advantage. Place that dragon there. Let's activate Ling's skill. Ling and her summons gain plus 38% attack and plus 38 attack speed. The summons now deal arts damage. Gain one more summon when the skill is activated.
One word to address all beneath the heaven.
And see, now I killed that guy real quick.
Upon the earth.
So that's one less archer I need to worry about. Place another dragon there. And I'm all out of dragons. Let's see. Now I'm gonna put the one here. So now I can better guard this chest and take out that archer. And now it's mostly a sit and wait sort of game. Let's use Arene's skill to take out these guys quicker. And speed up the speed of the entire match. Just to get through things a little faster. If that even needed saying. And this is our last guy. There we go, mission accomplished. So there's a basic example of how the gameplay in this game works. Now, of course, I'm going to keep going, and things are going to get tougher and tougher, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to see going forward, as things will also get more random, so I'll have to plan ahead a lot better. We've got another guard here that we can get. Let's see, who's a good pick? Probably Lapland, that was over there on the left. Alright, chat. Help me out. Should I go for Lapland and use 3 hope on her? Or, because her silence ability isn't particularly useful in this mode, at least to my knowledge, should I instead grab Midnight and save the hope? What do you think? And anyone watching this on YouTube or not familiar with how this works, what people see on stream is a little bit behind what I'm actually doing. There's a delay there. So if I ask a question, there's usually some amount of delay before I get a response, which is why I sometimes go so quiet after asking. Alright, Faiku said, Midnight, save the hope to take the 6-star. So Midnight is another lord just like Arene. Alright, emergency ops tend to give some pretty good rewards, so let's go with the middle encounter. Now, another thing I love about Arknights is how deep the story is. This game won't get too deeply into it. This mode won't get too deeply into the story, But the actual story missions have occasionally, in other modes, have had cutscenes that have taken me an entire half hour plus to get through, and it's mostly just reading. A lot of the stories in this game might as well be a book. It was great at one of my old job sites where I had all the time in the world and the freedom to read through it all, but nowadays I don't, so I'm sadly behind on lore. Anyway, new friends, old rivals. Strange encounters never age. Only scars stand the test of time. So the plot of this adventure is that one of our operators, Phantom, has disappeared. It is discovered that he has returned to the old assassin troupe that he used to be part of, called the Crimson Troupe, who masquerade as stage performers. And there's a Phantom of the Opera theme going on here. So these event nodes, like the one I just entered, will give you little story beats relating to that. Secret Chamber. You trip over your exhausted feet and tumble down the castle's staircase, only to find a hidden trapdoor. It leads to a bedchamber with exquisite furnishings not seen anywhere else in the castle. The bedchamber is spotless, as though it is cleaned on a regular basis. You notice there is a delicately carved sculpture on the work desk. Do we try to get some rest and gain more life, or receive the collectible Numbness and Obscenity, which gives all friendly units +5 magic resistance? I'm going to take the sculpture. The bottom of the sculpture is inscribed with a few sentences. Once I was obsessed with radical artistic expression, but our small boat is still in search of the Lake of Beauty. None of this is for the fools with poor taste to criticize. Excuse me. If art was only about what is on the surface, then what even is the difference between beauty and ugliness? Indeed. Beast taming. The moment the two beast tamers blow their whistles, the hounds all scramble out of their enclosure to feast. Alright, yeah, so we got a new little feature going on. These tiles with the caution tape. I cannot place units down on those tiles. The only way to damage enemies on these tiles is with ranged attacks. Additionally, there's a staircase here. Enemies go in here, come out here, and assault the exit. Also, we have enemy info that we can look at if we need to. These guys have a chance to show up on every mission in this game mode. Defeating them just earns extra rewards. All these other guys are guaranteed to show up. And you notice they all have stats of their own, but they're more vague to keep players guessing. Of course, the more mathematically and programming inclined players will usually be able to figure out exactly what those stats are. I am not one such player. I'm much more casual despite how far in this game I am. But each of these enemies has their own descriptions, as you can see over here, their own backstories, and some of them have unique abilities. When coming into contact with a pulse wave, this unit instead takes no damage and will deal arts damage with normal attacks. A pulse wave is related to a different game mechanic that we have not encountered yet. Lunar Phoenix is here in chat. They said, "Good evening, Helldivers. Anyone by chance want some liberty? Also interesting. Funny that you're making Helldivers references when I'm not playing Helldivers, but hello, Lunar. Glad to have you." Alright, with that explained, let's get into this mission. Now we have our fourth character to help us guard the exit.
Success is... Show me your spirit, everyone.
Ah, so this thing actually is in this mode. I forgot to read that part. This thing is another field hazard. It will release pulse waves, as was mentioned in that enemy description, in, I believe, a diamond shape around it. So any of my units in that field, and any certain enemy units, will take damage from it each time it releases a pulse, which will happen whenever this green bar gets full. And you'll see that happen in just a second. Boop! There it goes. And in fact, we can read that here. Emits a pulse wave in the surrounding tiles, dealing 500 true damage to all allied and enemy units. Certain enemies are strengthened. So now we're getting into damage types here. There are 3 types of damage. Well, actually, technically 4. but we won't really have to deal with elemental damage in this run. The other three types are regular physical damage, which is essentially hitting them with a big stick, or a sword, or what have you. There is arts damage, which is elemental damage, and I don't remember if elemental damage completely ignores defense, or just kind of works around it, but that's what resistance is for. And last we have true damage, which ignores all defenses and deals exactly how much damage it says it does. 500 might sound like a lot, unless you have characters that have 1300 HP. Even so, true damage is always dangerous to deal with. Let's see, was there anything else mentioned here? Certain enemies are strengthened. So yeah, there's that description from the enemy I read earlier. Now, let's get into the strategy. Once again, early in the game, simple strategy. Guard this thing. Since we have two lords now, I'm going to put them down like this, so both of them can attack all the way out to here. Makes it much harder for enemies to get close to the exit. Yeah, let's put Ling here.
A war song for the fallen element.
Okay, big guy there is starting to move, so I'm going to put a dragon right here. Because that guy's going to take a bit to take down. Unfortunately, one of the dogs got to the dragon first. The dragon can only block one unit, so the big guy walked right on by it. So I'm going to put another one here. And you'll see he's going to kill the dragon before the dragon can kill him. But I can put another one down. I can also put Ansel down. Now, we'll want to use these skills to help deal with this guy even further. And now he's in range of them, so he's got being attacked from multiple directions, and he goes down. This guy is more worrisome because he deals a lot of damage. I'm going to put a dragon here. And skill on again. Let's also improve healing. Ah, shoot, a dog slipped through. You can see I lost one life point. And there's the duck I mentioned. I don't think we're going to be able to beat him this time around. His whole deal is that when he takes damage, he just starts booking it, and he can't be blocked. You're supposed to take advantage of a lot of range to deal with him in this pattern that he moves in, but I don't have that advantage right now. It's very rare to be able to handle those guys this early in a run. Alright, now we've got rewards. Originium ingots, which can be spent at a shop we might encounter later. This item, medic recruitment and vouchers obtained from shops or as a drop, will be upgraded into elite HR dispatch letters. We just happen to have a medic recruitment voucher right here. So what happens if I take this first? It doesn't seem to have changed it, so I guess later ones will have that effect. But now we can get a second medic. I'm gonna go with Pure Stream. Pure Stream is a therapist medic. She has a huge healing range, but as it says, the healing amount on farther targets is reduced to 80%. That's totally fine, because her second skill, attack interval, is greatly reduced, and each attack restores the HP of an injured allied unit within range by 40% of attack. 40% doesn't sound like much, but greatly reduced attack interval is immense. It basically means pretty much everyone in range of her is being constantly healed, which is a massive boon where other operators might be taking constant damage. You might notice everyone in this game has some kind of animal or fantasy theme. There is actually a lore reason for that that I will not get into right now. Well, I guess I could explain the basics of it. This game takes place in an alternate world called Terra that's a lot like our own, but they have magic called arts, and their technology is very different as a result of that. Guns are not very common. They exist, but they're not common because they work differently. They're essentially hyper-advanced magic wands, and require magic to use them. They are also expensive, and so usually only seen in the hands of the rich or specific cultures. Additionally, because this is an alternate universe, humans are scarce there. They are basically a precursor race. The modern races are all based on animals, angels, demons, etc. And they are also naturally stronger than humans, so things like crossbows are basically just as lethal in this universe as a gun in real life. Now, we've got items to buy at this shop that we have entered. Empress's Wish, all allied units have plus 15% physical and arts dodge, so physical and arts damage has a 15% chance to be completely ignored. That's alright. Renowned Singer. Enemies receive 600 arts damage per second when stunned, frozen, or bound. Very niche effect that's not entirely necessary. Coin-operated toy. For each 5 ingots in possession, all friendly units have plus 3 attack speed. Well, we have 27, so if you manage to build up a lot of those, this can be real powerful. And I guess that's another thing that I should mention in the story. Originium is central to the technology in this universe, so it also is a primary commodity. We can promote a medic operator, which is not particularly useful to us right now, but it essentially means that operator is boosted to their full power. Elite HR dispatch letter. We can recruit anyone we want with this, so I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. Let's get this. I'll grab this while I can. And I'm going to grab Myrtle. I'll explain how Myrtle works later. Alright, I will invest the rest of this into the investment system here, which is a long-term goal kind of thing. Basically, this comes into future runs. You might see it might come in handy in the future, but the more I put in, the more options I can have in future runs as well. Which is why I have over 100 sitting in, just sitting in this thing unclaimed. And that thing is now supposedly broken, so we'll move on. Survivalist, so there is now a debuff on this run. On this floor, friendly units and non-boss enemy units will take constant damage, but receive increased attack and attack speed. Sorry, I just heard a bunch of thumping above my head and I was distracted for a minute. Friendly units and non-boss enemy units will take constant damage, but receive increased attack and attack speed. So essentially, every battlefield is in the middle of a poison haze, is what that effect is like. And let's see what we've got going forward. We have an emergency ops, which is, I forgot to mention, these are tougher battles than they otherwise would be. But because that's there, and each path only has 2 battles on it, I might as well take the top route. Advanced Squad. You locate the Rhodes Island squad who sent out the original distress signal. They have been scouting the surrounding areas before you made contact. You exchange information with each other, and their squad shares some of their resources and experience with you. Gain a promotion voucher. Promote a 5-star or lower operator. Well, gosh dang, why only 5 stars? The one I need to promote is a 6-star. There's not much point in promoting 5 stars. Oh well, I'll promote Myrtle. Because I believe this way her skills charge faster. You have learned much from the squad, and it is time to continue your exploration. Destitute Knights. A ground of expelled Kazimierzian knights have become wandering mercenaries, their former titles revealed by the insignias on their clothing. Oh, this mission. I forgot about this one. This one's fun. So here's where interesting strategies have to come in. You see one exit again, but the pathway splits like a tree. So I have to be able to guard all these exits all at once. All the pathways. Not necessarily all at once, but I have to be able to compensate for the enemy being a little more spread out and then funneling toward the exit. Now, funneling can be a good thing because it allows you to focus all your damage in one area. But at the same time, it can be a bad thing because the enemy also focuses all their damage in one area, and if you're not prepared for that, all your units can get wiped out real fast. Especially if they can tank everything you're doing. Now, we're going to use Myrtle's first skill here.
I wanna go.
Is anybody's brain starting to drone on from all this information yet? Now, the first unit we want to put down is actually Myrtle. Her class is a Vanguard class. When I use her skill, she stops attacking and recovers 14 deployment points over the skill duration. The entire purpose of a Vanguard class is to build up more of this so I can put down the rest of my team much earlier in a mission. Also, Faiku said yes, referring to the brain melting part. So hopefully after this I'll be able to slow down the explanations. Let's get a little more personal with the chat. How is everyone doing today? And I'll finish setting all this up while y'all answer that.
Good scenery here, Doctor.
나쁘지 않은 위치네.
Ah. We've got two new enemy types here. These guys are casters. They deal damage in a range around them. This guy, you can see the smoky effect, he's invisible, which means I cannot damage him unless I have a unit blocking him, aka sharing the same square. Now let's use Myrtle's skill. You see this thing just start climbing super rapidly. Let's do this.
A war song for the fallen element.
Dragon's not too useful against him. Oh yeah, I forgot about the constant HP loss. So next we'll bring out our new healer.
내 차례야? 이러고? 당황하지 마.
Truly the split halberd. We're counting on you again today, little apple.
Okay, new strategy.
Please hold on.
I've arrived.
Oh shoot, that did not work out nearly as well as I thought it would. Never mind.
Ooh, almost dozed off. Gather around me, guys.
I forgot that guy was constantly losing HP too. That really helped there. Chat's being a little quiet. I asked a question. How is everyone? Who's number 22? Faiku said I'm good. Cool to hear.
기다리고 있었으니까.
If that duck takes away this thing, I'm gonna be real mad.
I've arrived.
당황하지 마. 경고는 이미 했어.
Should have put him facing the other way, gosh dang it.
Truly evocative. When will the hate sunk beneath the battlefield disperse?
I could have had him if I faced Midnight the other way. Oh well. Faiku said, just doing assignment hearing... doing assignments while hearing you. Gotcha.
Impressive. Your
Yeah, that's kind of how
blazing
streams are meant to work.
brilliance
Sometimes they're just
fill
meant to
my
be listened to,
throat.
and only occasionally looked at. Which makes them perfect for running in the background while you're doing other things. Plus 20 starting DP, that's really handy. Tonight's performance, so we have a little gimmick here. Immediately gain +1 life point when entering the next encounter on this floor. The performance is called The Dawn. A ray of light radiates forward from behind, sweeping past the clamoring cities and into the fissure between heaven and earth. Suddenly, the world is free of its early morning trance, its eyes wide open, with morning dew glimmering for all to see. Sounds like a bit of a slice of life sort of play, a story about just existence. So now we can hire a dedicated caster. I'm going to take Lava. So Lava is a splash caster, deals AoE arts damage. What that means is basically every attack that Lava performs explodes, dealing damage to the enemies around that attack, not just to the one that she physically attacked. Oh, I don't like this mission. It's always a little tricky right at the beginning. You encounter a band of mercenaries who have also lost their way. Short on food, they set their sights on your bag.
As far as teamwork
Lava should be a big help here,
I don't mind.
hopefully. Because I'm going to have to rely heavily on enemies bunching up in one place.
All right, all medicine has been prepared.
Good scenery here, Doctor.
Okay.
For the marching, a war song. For the fallen, a lament.
We're counting on you again today, little apple.
Please hold.
Alright, I need to remember that I'm constantly losing HP here. So you go here. (14, 15, 16).
나쁘지 않은 위치네.
We're counting on you again today, little apple.
What's up? Bathe in fresh blood.
Okay. Now I'm going to take her out, gain a little bit of DP from that, and put Lava here,
Come on.
facing up, so she can, when enemies bunch up in either of these two places, she can deal damage to all of them. If they even bunch up that way. Just for fun, I will show what Pure Stream can do. Notice her increased attack speed is keeping all of my units healed to max constantly, despite all of them constantly losing HP. And my dragon disappeared because it lost all its health. That's one thing I forgot to mention. The dragons cannot be healed by healer units. So that's another concern about using Ling's dragons on the field, is you have to make sure that it's even worth putting them there. Because you can't heal them to keep them alive. And you don't want to waste them because you only have so many.
Truly of the split
Now let's speed this up.
sinks in the sand. Great aspirations unrecompensed.
So far, so good. We're good, all clear. Cool. I usually struggle with that mission, but I've got a really good thing going on with this team right now.
전투 종료. 전장 뒤처리하는 것도 방심하면 안 돼.
Ooh, 9 hope. Ah, and we can get a defender. So let's get Saria, that I mentioned earlier. The best healing defender in the game. An old city once perished in a tragedy, and the tragic tale of the citizens' tribulations has been weaved into a play. While their story continues to be told, the treasures of the city have laid dormant until now. You come across some treasures next to the rotten corpse of the story's protagonist. The most precious manuscript, penned by the Tsar herself, is half rotted and lost among the dust. Today's menu. All allied units have plus 40% healing effectiveness. So essentially, any healing that is done has now been boosted. And we've got a little story bit here. The troop's chef never serves the same dish twice. The members of the troop have been warned to never ask where the ingredients came from. Ooh, that's scary. No one can say for certain whether the script came first or the actual events. As a memento, you pick a treasure from the pile. We've got 2 debuffs now. Imagine, on this floor, enemies have increased attack, defense, and HP. In your imagination, your enemies grow taller and taller. Blind. On this floor, node types will become unidentifiable after your next action. Hence the question mark and the dense fog. Excuse me. Even though everything is right before your eyes, you feel it is all a haze. So yeah, we cannot plan ahead very well. So we just have to pick a route and roll with it. I'll take this one. There's no telling who it was that yelled, but a bustling crowd starts to swarm toward you. So, we now have 2 exits to guard, and we can't place any units directly in front of them. Which means we have to guard all 5 lanes. That's a little bit tricky. But I believe with this team, it's perfectly doable. The question is, do I swap anyone out for Saria? I'm going to say no for this one, because these 2 guys will come in handy. I'll need healers on both sides. I'm definitely going to need Myrtle to place down all of my units fast enough, and then Lava and Ling can also be casters on either side. Help even out the playing field, because most of my damage is going to be coming from the sides here, while I just have a bunch of units in the middle blocking things. So that's my plan for this mission.
Alright, all medicine has been prepared.
Let's see. Enemies usually start spawning on the left.
Thus has Autumn made reckoned her arrival.
Injections ready. Prepare for battle.
Never mind, they're spawning on the right with this one. That's a little different. Let's do this since he's stalling there.
Good scenery here, Doctor.
So that's something that can help you in planning a strategy, is knowing whether or not the enemy will stop in a specific place so you can pick them off while they're standing there. Now, of course, the game will not tell you these things before you start the mission. It's all a matter of playing missions over and over and over and learning from experience.
Ooh, gather around me, guys.
Put you here.
괜찮은
Put you here. Now the enemies actually all stall on their way down over and over just to keep things at a reasonable pace.
What's up? Bathe in fresh blood.
I have to get serious now.
Okay, now let's put another dragon here.
Come on.
She goes there, and it seems I don't have enough. Something I forgot to mention is that you can only put down a certain number of units on the field at one time. This number, I believe, changes depending on the mission, especially in this game mode. You can increase how many units you're allowed to put on the field at once. Currently, I do not have enough to put down my healers in addition to all this. So, gonna have to do a little bit of juggling here if my units take too much damage. One of the nice things about these dragons being unable to be healed in the first place is that I don't need to plan for healing them, because the only thing I can do about them anyway is to just wait until they die and then put down another one. Klotzkop is here. They said, what does for non-players mean? Do I have to leave? No, you don't. The whole idea is I'm thinking of making this a video that I can share with people who aren't familiar with the game, or possibly even people who aren't familiar with gaming in general, or not that familiar with it. Trying to make it so it's understandable to those kinds of watchers. I've done this before in past Arknights videos, but it was a lot more unofficial. This one's meant to be an official guide of sorts. There's also the fact that I've seen a lot of YouTube videos that try to explain Arknights, but they rarely explain what the gameplay is, and instead explain how to optimize character builds and stuff like that. And it's like, frickin', can we get an Arknights video that's all about how the combat works, instead of how to make your first build? I totally forgot / didn't notice that chest was there. So focused was I on making sure I was prepared for this. Alright, let's speed things up a little bit. And I will save all the skills for later, because eventually tougher enemies are going to start showing up. So how are you, Klotzkop? Ah, here we go. Tougher units showing up.
The split halberd sinks in the sand. Great aspirations unrecompensed.
Klotzkop said, I'm standing in front of the IS-4 ending 3 boss and have plus 150 attack speed. Should be a piece of cake. Nice, dude. Klotzkop is talking about another mode in this game. Technically the same mode, but a different version of it. Alright, and I think there's one more wave left. 40 more enemies to go.
What are you waiting for? Even the dead can't save you.
Now let's turn on these skills and speed it up once again. Up, here comes these big guys. Now I'll turn on Ling and Arene. Alright, we're good, we did it.
Flawless victory! I was pretty good, wasn't I, Doctor?
The HR dispatch. I can level up Ling now, because I have 3 hope, and it costs extra hope to promote a character. Now you might wonder, why would I want to do that? Well, this allows me to use Ling's 3rd skill, which makes her summon dragons much stronger. They cost more to put down, but they're likely to last longer, and they are far more powerful. So that's what I'm going to do. This is essentially a super boost to my squad now. Because not only am I now compensating for a smaller squad, sorry, but I'm also compensating for a lack of power in the squad. Ling's dragons now become able to block 2 enemies. They deal a lot more damage to them. When I turn on her skill, they deal damage in all 4 squares around them. And if I place 2 dragons next to each other, facing each other, they combine into an even bigger dragon that can block 4 enemies and deal an absurd amount of damage. Ling is one of the only characters in the game, if not the only character, that can single-handedly complete multiple missions in this game. By herself. It's really nice. Let's go to a safe house. There is danger lying in wait in every corner of the old castle. The usual environment, the enemies lurking in the shadows, and the grotesque happenings have been unceasing. Oh, the unusual environment, my bad. Wearing you and your squad out. Fortunately, you are able to find a corner to catch a breather every now and then. You would do well to manage your resources, relax, and plan your next steps quickly. Your next challenge will appear before long. Let's increase our squad size. You take inventory of your resources and find that when the resources are rationed appropriately, you have enough resources for more pairs of hands. It's already 12:51 in the morning. I should be going to bed soon. Realistically, I should have been in bed a while ago, but I took my sweet time getting started on this. That's my bad. I don't like to stress myself. A familiar face! A Sarkaz woman and her underling. Though you do not remember the details, you are certain you have gone through this before. Oh, interesting we encountered this one tonight. So I'm going to back out for a second.
Doctor,
See this lady?
Like to do for Rhodes Island?
She's one of our allies currently, but in the story she starts out as an enemy. We're about to fight her on the field. I'm gonna take these quick. So now let's go back in. Say hello to W, a boss character. In this case, more of a mini-boss. Can use explosives to deal heavy physical damage to allied units. Uses more explosives when HP is under 50%. Wait, what was that description? Resembles a Laterano gun. Okay, I didn't know her weaponry was somehow an anomaly. Well, alright. So yeah, we have a new mechanic here. These spaces automatically heal the unit placed upon them at a pretty slow rate. The way this is going to work is that enemies are going to be spawning from here and walking straight down. W and a few other enemy types will spawn here and zigzag across the map. So I don't need to worry about guarding this too much because I can instead worry about dealing damage to W and her allies as they walk by. The main focus is stopping these guys from getting down here. And I've only got 4 squares to do that with. Thank goodness for Ling. Actually, the starting DP might really help with that too. 14 and 16 is just enough. I'm going to build up a little more. Put Myrtle here. Now, you... Yeah, let's do it like this. Oh, jeez. Okay, now you go here. I need better healing. I would have preferred to put her down, but I couldn't wait. Ah, that guy slipped through. There's always one that slips through. Every time. Let's put a dragon there to help deal with this guy.
Has it come to my the split halberd sinks in the sand. Great aspirations
We're counting on you again today, little apple.
No, you don't. Now, W is going to pop out here in a minute. Hopefully I can deal with her well enough. I'm going to do this. And now when W pops out, she'll have to deal with this big guy who has an attack level of 1,748, extremely high defense, 30% resistance, because resistance works in percentages, and block 4.
truly evocative.
And when I use Ling's skill on them, their attack and defense double.
Oh, sword, pierce the moonlight.
The medication is here. Take it.
Now the question is, when is W going to show her face? Cool that she waited until Ling was ready for her, though. There she is.
Has it come speak as your heart wills, and be as your intoxication wishes.
Wait, shoot. Oh, my healer died. Okay, no biggie. Actually, I can even wait a minute. Okay, now W's down. So I'm going to take out this dragon, put one here. Healer goes here. And you'll notice the dragons did not fuse, and that's because they are not facing each other. And I did that intentionally. Now, even though this dragon cannot be healed by healers, because it's on a healing tile, it receives the healing buff. And now I will place my last dragon here to deal with any more guys that might come out of here. Though I do not believe any more will. Nope, we're good. So there's tactics getting a little trickier in this game now.
I was very impressed by everyone's performance. It was fantastic.
Well, we've already got a 6-star defender. We can now get a 6-star caster if we want one. Who do we have on our side here? We don't... Well, we do have a devoted caster. We have Lava. But she's a 3-star. Not high potential. Alright, folks in chat. I'll let you decide. Should I grab a defender with some high attack range? Or should I grab everybody's favorite caster, AF Yala? I'm thinking of getting Horn from the defender side, if I get a defender. Faiku said Aya, Klotzkopf said Horn sounds good. Now I'm debating, because I don't even know what boss I'm going to try and go for on this run. That's the thing about this game mode, for anyone not familiar with it. The choices you make can determine which final boss you fight. You know, I'm gonna, just for the sake of showing off more about how this game works and trying things a little differently, I'm gonna get Horn. Now, let's take a look at this character I just got. Horn is another type of defender called a fortress. When not blocking enemies, prioritizes dealing ranged AoE physical damage. We also have traits, which I haven't really gone into, but when this unit is on the field, defender operators gain plus 10% attack. So if both of them are on the field, Saria and possibly Horn as well have increased attack. Now you'll notice Horn has a strange range here. There's 2 whole units between her and where she strikes. Her whole deal is that she's meant to bombard a space from a distance, but any enemies that reach her tile will also take a lot of heavy damage from up close, at the cost of her not attacking from a distance during that time. You reach a hall with an oil painting in a most conspicuous location. The painting depicts the ending of a tragic story. At the end of the story, the protagonist discovers that his entire life is a fabricated conspiracy. In his grief, he leaps off a tall tower as a last-ditch effort to break free of their control. I can't go for this ending because I used up all my hope just now. Shame. That would have been a good one to show off how difficult tactics can get in this game. Better stay away from tragic stories. Gain 1 hope. Reprieve? If reality was already so difficult, he could have at least made things easier on himself in the story. Let's go for this one, I think. Okay, without a, this one's going to be a little bit trickier. But I might be able to pull it off. What else are we dealing with? This one's really tricky without a specific unit type that I don't have right now. This one might be the easiest one to do with my current build. Well, screw it. Let's try this one out. There are tattered pillars that can be knocked down by neighboring operators, dealing damage to the 2 tiles it falls on and forming rubble that blocks routes. No melee or ranged deployment restrictions on this map, which means I can put all of my units anywhere on the field, except wherever these things rest. So yeah, let's go for this one. We're not going to need Horn on this particular level. All of these other units are going to be much more useful. I think. Actually? Never mind. I'll take Horn, put her here.
Servicemen should take pride in their own discipline.
It's funny, I got Saria a while ago and have yet to use her.
Plotted schemes, waged wars,
Okay.
crossed arms, shed blood. An
Let's
eternal,
put you here.
an altered, and
Horn can go
unfailing
here.
in its challenge.
Behold, here come my flamboyant moves.
Whew, almost dozed off. I have to get serious now.
I'll impart on you all the cries I've heard.
나쁘지 않은 위치네.
Oh shoot, I put him in the wrong place.
I've arrived.
I was thinking, I forgot it falls to the next 2 tiles, not the one it's on and the one in front of it. Oh, and it broke! Shoot, I didn't know that could happen. Okay, man, I'm suddenly not doing so well. Okay. You go here for now.
A war song.
I'm gonna have to let that dog through.
A lament.
I need you again, Myrtle. This guy goes here.
What's up? Bathed in fresh blood.
Has it come when will the hate sunk beneath the...
Allow me to... You want to topple me? By what? Almost does that.
Hey there, Red. Glad you could make it. Just to fill you in, Red, on what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to explain this game as I go, so that anyone not familiar with the game knows how it works. I've done this before, but this is more of an official attempt. And I've gone silent for a little bit here because I'm a little focused on recovering for my error in understanding of this level. Normally, I rely on this thing blocking these two spots, so the enemies are funneled right here, and it makes things much easier to deal with. Somehow, that thing broke, and so now I'm having to guard all three lanes again. And Ling is not breaking this one like I thought she would, so that's not helping much either. Red said, all good, best of luck. Let's do that, just for fun. And see, here's a bit more strategy here. This guy can stop units from passing him, blocking them on this square, which is in range of Horn. Horn deals a lot of range damage here, especially with her skill turned on, so that allows me to essentially have an artillery function going on. Main problem here is I have nothing dealing damage to this flying stone golem. Bet that's not a phrase you ever thought you'd hear. I'm gonna have to let the golem through though. I don't have enough range damage going on here to handle him. Okay, I need better healing on Arene.
Truly, the split halberd sinks in the sand. Great aspirations unrecompensed.
Allow me to... The Tempest must wipe out all that blocks the way.
Excuse me. Where's the best place to put her? I'm going to say here.
Hurry up. It's game over for you. Hurry up.
I'm gonna take her out because Arene's really struggling here.
Bathed in fresh blood.
Alright, so aside from the unexpected leaks, we have otherwise done it. Maybe I could have taken out the stone golems considering his HP level, but I was not prepared to deal with a wide open path. And that is how plans can sometimes fail. if you're not fully paying attention to what you're doing. Increases the defense of Vanguard and Guard operators by plus 10% for each one in the combat squad. That's real handy because Vanguards and Guards are some of the most useful units in the game. Let's see. Well, I could really go for a specialist right now, but I've only got one hope. I don't think there are any specialists I can get for one hope that will fill the class I need. Let's get a different kind of dedicated caster, Steward. He focuses on one enemy rather than dealing explosion damage. But sometimes that's what you need. His advantage is that he attacks a little faster. Now we're at a midway boss. The Spire Caster's abandoned trinkets were modified, eventually becoming the castle's indefatigable guardian. At the same time, it has also proven to be some of the new actors' barrier to entry. Oh yes, this one. This will probably be painful without Eyjafjalla on the team, the caster I almost got earlier. But I think I can make do with Ling. I think. The hard part is that the boss, this guy, can throw a rock that inflicts a very long stun, will not target a unit that is already stunned. That stun also deals a lot of damage. Thing is, if I can bait those rocks with my dragons, I'm pretty good because using Ling's skill allows the dragons to deal damage around them, even if they're knocked out. So let's see how this goes, and then this might have to be my final mission of the night. Let's see, what am I dealing with on the field again? I'm going to replace Ansel with Saria.
I am within my rights to oversee and bring up my
That
own
might be a bad call, I'm not sure. I think it's a good one, though. Only one way to find out.
Let's go. Keep an eye on my back.
You go up here. You can go here.
Gather around me, guys.
You can go here.
청소는 내 특기라고.
And see, there he goes.
And thus has Autumn made reckoned her arrival.
I've arrived.
Well, shoot. Okay, there we go.
Oh, I have to get serious now.
Now I will put Saria here. A dragon here, and let's turn on that dragon.
As your heart wills, be
That
as your intoxication wishes.
sounds a little weird to say.
내 차례야?
Oh, almost dozed off.
Now I will take her out. Buff the dragon.
당황하지 마. What's up?
This will be over soon.
You'll see Saria's skill is automatic, so she's repeatedly healing everyone around her, except the dragons. Let's turn the dragons on again.
Heart wills,
And I'm sure you've noticed when units are stunned, they cannot block the enemy, which is why I put a second dragon down right here, behind the superpowered one. Now I've killed the boss, so things should be much more streamlined going forward. In fact, I'll take that out and place it here. Actually, no. I have a better idea. I'll put Horn right here, so she can deal damage in this entire zone.
solidify.
내 차례야? 가르쳐줘. 지금 뭘 느끼는지.
Best me if you can. Truly speak as your heart wills, and be as your intoxication wishes.
Alright, I did it. That might have been the cleanest version of that mission I've ever done.
생각했던 것보다 훨씬 순조로웠네. 선생님을 너무 얕잡아 봤었어.
We got more ingots. What collectible can we get? All friendly ranged units have increased attack. Enemies take increased damage from allied units as range increases. Max 100%. Ooh. Well, I don't know if ranged units counts for, like, lords and such. This is a consistent buff. This is dependent on distance. Klotzkopf said no, referring to the lords. So yeah, probably scout scope, right? Is that what you think, Faiku and Klotz? You think I should go with the scope? That's what I'm thinking. The buff might be weaker close up, I'm not sure, but it will be stronger at a distance. I'm gonna go with that. Okay. And we could do snipers and healers. Well... Fiametta would be really handy if she didn't have the problem of constantly losing HP. She might still be really handy. It's not a particularly egregious rate of HP loss. Rosa might be handy. Okay, folks. I need your help for real, Faiku and Klotzkopf. Do I go with Fiametta to change things up a little bit and see how it goes going forward? Do I go with Exusier for raw anti-air? Do I go with Chen for high power? Rosa for a bit of a tactical difference and some distance? Or do I go with April, who can be dropped in and out a little quicker and has camouflage upon being first dropped in? Five options I'm torn between. Klotzkopf said, sorry, what stage are we at, and what are your operators and collectibles? We just finished the midway boss. We haven't selected another stage to do yet. We have increased attack speed for ingot count, increased healing, increased defense for vanguards and guards, increased damage as range increases, and all friendly units have increased resistance. As for operators, we have Superpowered Ling, Saria, Horn, Myrtle, Steward, Midnight, Pure Stream, Arene, Lava, and Ansel. We do not have a 6-star anti-air unit yet, unless you count Ling. Klotz said, looks like you want a sniper. Well, yeah. Problem is, I can't decide which sniper I want. I'm torn between Fiametta, Exusier, Chen, Rosa, or April. Klotz said Ambriel really likes the scope. Oh yeah, because she has the global range thing going on. That's right. But at the cost of she doesn't have dedicated anti-air. If you can keep Fia healed up, bring her. I think I can do that. Alright, let's go with Fia meta. Nightmare's Prelude. Last floor before the floor with the boss on it. Klotzkopf said, melted the IS-4 boss, by the way. Congratulations. As much as I want to continue, I should probably stop here so I can go to bed. I might be able to continue this tomorrow. Start the stream earlier tomorrow, perhaps, to celebrate getting off work sooner, and then I can swap over to Hollow Knight after I'm done with this run tomorrow night. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Now that we've defeated the midway boss and we've got a good setup going, I'm going to call this here for tonight and continue this explanation system thing tomorrow. So, with that said, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. My Discord and YouTube can be... Excuse me. My Discord and YouTube can be found in my Twitch bio. You can go to those for previous content or to just hang out with me and get updates on future streams. And with all that said, have a good night, everybody.